My wife has been calling me every day. She died 3 weeks ago. I don't know how to start this. I've been staring at my screen for 20 minutes trying to figure out where exactly things went wrong. Maybe it started the night of the accident. Maybe it started before that. I honestly don't know anymore. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that 3 months ago, I had a perfect life. Sarah and I had been married for 6 years. 6 quiet, boring, beautiful years. We lived in a small house on Denton Street. She worked at a school. I worked from home doing accounting stuff. We had a cat named Biscuit. We watched movies on Friday nights. We argued about who left the kitchen light on. Normal. Everything was so normal. Then came October 14th. I was driving home from my cousin's place around 11 p.m. Rain was coming down heavy that night. I remember the wipers going like crazy and the road looking like a black mirror. I don't remember the exact moment it happened. 1 second I was driving. Next second, a flash of white light, a sound like the world cracking open, and then nothing. I woke up in the hospital. Sarah was sitting right beside me, holding my hand so tight her knuckles were white. She had clearly been crying for hours. Her mascara was all the way down her cheeks. "You're okay," she kept saying. "You're okay. You're okay." I had a cracked rib, a gash on my forehead, and a concussion. The doctor said I was lucky to be alive. A truck had drifted into my lane. The car was totaled. I spent 2 days in the hospital. Sarah stayed both nights, sleeping in that horrible chair beside my bed. She was the most caring person I had ever known, and I loved her more in those 2 days than I ever had before. Things felt normal when I got home, for about a week. The first thing I noticed was the smell. Sarah always smelled like this vanilla body lotion. She'd been using it since before we even got married. It was one of those small things I loved about her. Whenever she walked into a room, there was this soft, warm smell. About a week after I came home from the hospital, she walked past me in the hallway, and I smelled something else. Something cold. Like wet earth. Like a basement that hadn't been opened in years. I didn't say anything. I thought maybe it was something she'd picked up outside. Maybe from the garden. I let it go, but it kept happening. The second thing was the way she slept. I've slept next to Sarah for 6 years. I know how she sleeps. She always curls up on her left side, facing away from me, with one hand tucked under the pillow. Always, without fail. About 10 days after the accident, I woke up at 2 a.m. for no reason. Sarah was lying flat on her back, completely straight, arms at her sides, eyes closed. She wasn't snoring, she wasn't shifting, she wasn't doing anything. She looked like she was laid out in a coffin. I told myself people sleep in weird positions sometimes. I rolled over and closed my eyes. But the next night I woke up at 2 a.m. again. Same position, flat, still, arms down. I put my hand near her mouth to feel if she was breathing. She was, but just barely. Tiny little shallow breaths. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I want to say something here because I know how this sounds. I was not going crazy. I had no history of mental illness. Yes, I had a concussion, but the doctors had cleared me completely. I was not imagining things. I know what I saw. The third thing was the photographs. Sarah loves photos. Our house is full of them. Framed pictures on every wall. Our wedding, our holidays, random Tuesday afternoons she found beautiful enough to capture. She's always been like that. One evening I was dusting the shelves in the living room and I stopped in front of our wedding photo. It's a big one, right above the fireplace. The two of us outside the church, me in my gray suit, her in her white dress, laughing at something one of the guests had said. I looked at it for a long time, then I felt my stomach drop. In the photo, my arm is around Sarah's shoulder. Her hand is up near her face, laughing, everything normal. Except Sarah's shadow on the ground behind her was pointing in the wrong direction. My shadow stretched behind me, away from the sun. Normal. Her shadow pointed toward the sun, toward the light. Shadows don't do that. Shadows can't do that. I took the photo off the wall. I stared at it for a long time under the kitchen light. I told myself it was a camera trick, a lighting thing, something with the way the photo was printed. I put it back on the wall, and I never looked at it again directly. But sometimes from across the room I could feel it. Like it was wrong in a way I couldn't explain with words. I started watching her, not in a crazy way. Just paying attention. She never ate much. I noticed that. She used to love food. She could finish a whole pizza by herself on bad days. Now she moved food around her plate. She drank water, but I never once saw her actually swallow a bite. She stopped going to bed before me. She used to fall asleep on the couch by 10 p.m. Now she sat in the chair in the corner of the bedroom, just waiting until I got into bed. Then she would lie down, her phone. Sarah used to be on her phone constantly, texting her sister, scrolling through cooking videos. One day I picked up her phone while she was in the shower. No messages. No call history. No app usage. Like the phone had never been touched. I called her sister Mira from my work phone. "Hey," I said, trying to sound casual. "How are you? Have you talked to Sarah lately?" There was a pause on the other end. "What do you mean?" Mira said slowly. "I just mean recently. Like this week." Another pause. "Longer this time. Are you okay?" Mira asked. Her voice sounded strange, tight. "I'm fine." "Why? Sarah hasn't..." She stopped. "Can you come over? Can you come here right now?" I told Sarah I was going to the pharmacy. She smiled at me from the couch. That warm smile I had fallen in love with. "Don't be long," she said. Mira opened the door before I even knocked. Her eyes were red. She looked like she hadn't slept. She sat me down at her kitchen table and she put her hands flat on the table, and she looked at me. "Sarah's been calling me," she said. "Every day. Twice a day sometimes." I stared at her. "Okay. She's been calling me from a number I don't recognize." "Not her number." Mira's voice was barely above a whisper now. "She keeps saying the same thing every time." I didn't want to ask. I asked anyway. "What does she say?" Mira's eyes filled with tears. "She says he survived the accident, but I didn't. Please tell him I love him. Please tell him to look at who came home." I drove home in a state I cannot describe. I walked through the front door. The woman on the couch looked up and smiled at me. "You're back," she said. I looked at her face. The same face. The same eyes. The same smile I had kissed 1,000 times. "Who are you?" I whispered. She tilted her head slightly, like she was confused by the question. Then she smiled again. "Weirder this time?" "I'm your wife," she said softly. And somewhere in the house I heard Biscuit, our cat, let out a long and terrible scream from under the bed. He had been hiding there for 3 weeks. He never hid from Sarah. Not once in 6 years. I'm writing this from Mira's house. I haven't gone back. The thing in my house still calls me. From Sarah's number. Every night at 2 a.m. I never answer. But last night it left a voicemail. I played it this morning with shaking hands. It was Sarah's voice. My real Sarah's voice, crying. She said only 4 words. "Don't let it stay. I don't know what came home with me from that accident. But it is still in my house, sleeping in my bed, feeding my cat who screams every time it comes near. And I don't know how to make it leave. If anyone has experienced anything like this, please. I need help. I will try to update when I can. Please stay safe. Hug the people you love. And if something feels wrong, even something small, even something you can't explain, trust that feeling. Trust it."